Good morning. This is the regular Board of Fire Commissioners meeting, Tuesday, July 15th. Ms. Hill, could you call the roll, please?
Good morning.
Good morning.
President Hudley Hayes,
Here.
Vice President Lukic,
Here.
Commissioner Babcock,
Here.
Commissioner Hara,
Here.
Commissioner Woods Gray,
Here.
Fire Chief Villanueva,
Here.
Deputy City Attorney Linda Nguyen,
Here.
and we have quorum.
Thank you. Chief Villanueva, can you start us off?
Please rise. Right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join me in a moment of silence for past and present members of the Los Angeles Fire Department who devote their lives to the protection of humanity. Thank you. Please be seated.
I have to ask her. We have a presentation. So it doesn't make any difference.
Okay, we're going to start off with commission comments. Commissioners, does anybody have anything?
Yes.
Commissioner Babcock.
Yeah, I would just like to report that I met with the internal team here at LAFD regarding item BF 25-030, which was the impact of federal level cutbacks on LAFD. As a follow-up to when we heard that on the agenda. It was a great meeting, and the action that I took after that was I actually sat down with a senior advisor in Councilwoman Yaroslavsky's office, who she is the chair of the Budget and Finance Committee. So they were ultimately going to be meeting with someone later in the week with it's a charter issue, right? So this is hopefully a start of something that would ideally be that we would bring the opportunity when this is money. This is federal money, this is state money, and with everything going on the federal level, if the grants team here has to continue to ask for extensions, it could jeopardize cash. It could be anywhere from thousands to millions of dollars. So we are a governing board that should have that jurisdiction to approve. But this isn't a process that's going to happen overnight. But just know that I'm going to continue to stay at the front end of this, and we'll report back as we continue to make progress.
Thank you so much, too, for taking the lead on that. Vice President DeLucich.
Well, just on that note, and thank you, Commissioner Babcock, they are in the process of revamping the city charter, and I believe there's a meeting by Zoom tomorrow evening. I'll get the information and send it along, because a lot of us have a lot of ideas about how the city charter should be changed, and this is the time to start getting input, so I'll let folks know.
Yeah, and on this note, I mean, given that it's a monetary line item, I imagine that across the city there are other departments that could be facing similar issues. And having been at Fire and Police Pensions for 8 years on that commission, I know that we had jurisdiction over approving millions of dollars. So again, it's not that there wouldn't be any checks and balances. It's just we need an adjustment on how that could happen to alleviate some red tape, I think, within the city that is no one's fault. It's just the way it's been. So thank you, Sharon.
Thank you both. Commissioners, any other comments?
Not for me.
We're all good. Okay. So that brings us down to the public comment period. Ms. Hill?
Our first speaker is Paul Scrivano. If you state the items you would like to speak on.
Thank you. All items and public comment, please.
Thank you. You have 3 minutes.
6 weeks ago, on June 3rd, President Hudley Hayes, you said this. I'm going to turn it up. Hopefully you can hear it.
The real issue is what kind of a person are you? Who you are as a person? What's important to you? And whether or not you believe in the dignity of every individual who has a right to participate.
The dignity of every person to have the right to participate is what you said. And about 4 minutes after you said that, I came up here to make my public comments on my concern with the fire department. You lean into her, Commissioner DeLucich, and say, here we go. and you lean into Commissioner DeLugich and say, this is the idiot with the cane. Yeah, on live streaming YouTube. Everyone in this room heard it. 1.5 million people on Instagram heard it. And 1.5 million people on Instagram want you to get up and get out of this room and resign. It's a disgrace. I'm glad the city attorney is here today, because my question to all of you is, where do I file a formal complaint for what I can only classify as conduct unbecoming a fire commissioner, a fire commission president? If any of these guys were to treat a member of the public like that, calling them an idiot, telling them to shut up. You told me to shut up too. Did you hear that part? You didn't hear that? You said shut up too on a hot mic, You're an idiot with a cane, shut up. That's what you said before I got a word out on June 3rd. Oh, it's quite true, ma'am. So I want to know where I file a formal complaint. Do I file it with PSD over at 201 North Fig? Do I file it with you at your office, or do I file it with Mayor Bass, who appointed you or reappointed you? You should resign for conduct unbecoming a fire commissioner. Here's the other reason why you should resign today. You all talk about teachers' unions being the spearhead of every teacher's movement. You wearing a shirt that says day 6 of a 6-day strike for teachers with on your shirt, better conditions, better hours, better benefits, fighting for teachers' rights. The three of you cut your teeth striking. Yet you sit on the board over 3,500 men who cannot strike by law.
30 seconds.
There is a serious conflict of interest there, in my opinion. Finally, as LAUSD teachers, just so you know, 69% of LAUSD 11th graders can't read. 80% of LAUSD 11th graders can't do math at grade level. You're the ones that taught them and were in charge, and now you're trying to dumb down the fire department. It's not going to happen. I would really like to know where I file that formal complaint.
Thank you. Someone will get back to you where you can file that complaint. The next speaker, Sergey Tomlinson. If you could state the items you would like to speak on.
All items, general comment.
All right, sir, you have 3 minutes.
Good morning, Fire Commissioner, President Hudley Hayes, Fire Commission, Interim Chief Villanueva, City Attorney, distinguished guests in the audience. I'm Guy Tomlinson. I'm the President of the Chief Officers Association. I wish to make general comments and speak to all the items. Last meeting, you had agenda item reports. Need more planning staff according to your comments on hearing planning's report. Previous meetings, planning provided information on the need for increasing department size. I'm not quite sure, and the COA is not quite sure why this was such a shock that planning needed to be increased in size. We're understaffed in all categories by all national standards on the LAFD. Everyone's workload is dramatically increasing. Last major budget deficit, we lost Battalion 3 and Battalion 7, 6 battalion chiefs, increasing the battalion sizes. And that increased our span of control, our workload, and our response times. Now, without EITs, which shockingly to the COA did not come up at all at the last meeting, all the workload, this is compounding the issues further and increasing all the battalion chiefs' workloads. Your chiefs have gone through some job redesign with the latest job eliminations. However, we must adapt to change, and we manage that change. Everyone has a boss. We accept that and adapt to change. Good, bad, or indifferent. That is our job. However, consequences have to be heard and understood. Today, I've just heard discussion on federal issues with grants. All presidents have made changes that the city did not adjust to. That's caused us to lose money and leave money on the table or not be able to get the money. Doesn't matter which president was in office. You also heard reports on recruitment. As for recruitment, our hand crew program is the most diverse and best tested recruiting tool or program that we have on the LAFD ever. The volunteer and now the paid. You are mayoral appointed. You are our direct link to the mayor. I hope you're listening to and protecting the LAFD that you were appointed over. Looking at improving the mission, not just selective stats. Please represent all and protect all. Thank you for listening, and let's please collaborate with the COA. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, Rich Ramirez. If you could state the items you would like to speak on.
General public comment in all items, please.
All right, sir, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Rich Ramirez, Second Vice President of UFLAC Local 112 and also a firefighter paramedic for the LAFD. I want to start off by the word safety, and I want you guys to remember what I'm going to be talking about because that's what's in jeopardy with all our members, our boots on the ground. Just like CAO said right now, Chief Officers Association, Tomlinson, our safety is at risk. We know what we signed up to do, but losing those EITs and those positions have put everyday stress on our members, and I want you to remember that. I'm here today to remind everyone in this room that the LAFD cannot afford to lose a single additional position. As mentioned in the budget report, public safety suffered a huge blow with cutting of 42 firefighter emergency incident technicians. Our department is already operating beyond its limits, and ongoing threats of additional firefighter cuts to engines, task forces is unacceptable. As a reminder, last year the IFF standard of cover concluded that a fire department should have 1.5 to 1.8 firefighters per 1,000 people. Yet the LAFD only has 0.9 firefighters for every 1,000. That's half of the national average. This report also found that we need at least 700 new firefighters. Today we are operating with less firefighters than we did 30 years ago, yet our call volume keeps rising. But we know that the city budget problems are only going to get worse. We see the tens of millions of dollars spent on LAPD overtime during the ICE raids, and we know that there will be millions more spent on liability payments related to these actions. So when the city comes looking for more cuts to the LAFD, UFLAC implores you to stand with us, fight against any additional reductions to our fire department, and I say our fire department. We need our chief, we need our fire commission, and we need to stick together, speak up, and fight. Last, we all witnessed the tunnel collapse in Wilmington, and thankfully that day we had enough resources available to respond to the incident, but let's not take that for granted. Every single person had a specific job to do and did it well. Those people that were trapped depended on us to be there and to know our job and not to be running short or elimination of our positions.
30 seconds.
We all know that a tragedy can strike at any minute, and every single member who responded to the Wilmington incident played a critical role in saving the 31 workers trapped in the tunnel. We know the next several months are going to be hard. That's why we need to be united in fighting for our fire department and our safety. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
The last speaker card, we have Luke Melchio. Melchio. What items would you like to speak on?
All items in public comment.
Okay, you have 3 minutes.
All right, thank you. So I was asked to come here today by a number of fire victims in Pacific Palisades as well as firefighters to speak on what seems to be a lack of concern with the failures of the department and how it doesn't just affect the city here locally, but the nation at large. Just a few minutes ago, you spoke about federal budget cuts, and I think that people aren't aware that even like with the Pacific Palisades fire that we just recently had, the department was underfunded and understaffed, unable to meet the crisis at hand, and relied on five other counties in California and 6 other states to come in and basically foot the bill for LA and resolve our crisis. I'm assuming that none of those states will be repaid for the costs that they incurred. That will end up going to the federal taxpayers through FEMA to make up for that loss. And a large reason why that's happening is that the resources given to the fire department are being wasted on the homeless crisis here in LA that's occurred under Karen Bass's term. So instead of the $23 billion that was supposed to go and resolve the homeless crisis here, LA Fire Department, I'm understanding 40% of the department calls are going toward homeless issues, whether it's dumpster fires or drug overdoses. This is an issue that the city needs to be resolving through the police department and other homeless services and not kicking over to the fire department so that they're underfunded when we have a crisis. So now, one other issue that I wanted to discuss is that after all of these fires that have happened, I'm receiving calls from multiple clients of mine who are receiving citations and threats of liens on their properties for fire debris and burn debris, shrubs, trees, that Karen Bass promised that if people would just opt into the Army Corps fire debris removal program, that it would be handled for them. The Army Corps did not deliver on that promise, and now these people are receiving fines from this department. They've already lost everything, and they're being threatened with liens that could, they could end up losing their property over ultimately. So these are a few of the issues, and quite frankly, I was a little bit disappointed to see last month's comments where instead of addressing these real issues, the federal impact, the impact on other states that this department's
30 seconds.
failures have had, we're talking about LGBTQ issues, DEI issues, which is just not a concern of the taxpaying residents of LA. What they want to know is that if an emergency happens, they'll have a well-funded fire department who will show up and save the day, like each one of these heroes really desires to do when they signed up for the job. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
There are no more speaker cards.
Okay. So that brings us down to the 2025-2026 election of officers. And I think at this point, don't I turn it over to you?
Or to
Or
Neverly.
who do I turn it over to?
I think Neverly.
Is it you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Unless Linda.
Never know.
Okay. The nominations for the office of president is now open. Are there any nominations?
Madam Secretary, Executive Director, I nominate Janethia Hayes for president.
Second.
Oh, 1 second. Are there any other nominations? Okay. Is there a motion to close nominations for president?
I move. Second.
Commissioner Woods Gray, you moved? Do we have a second?
No, I moved.
Dr. Hara moved and I
Oh,
second.
okay. Thank you. If there are no other nominations, it is moved and seconded that the nominations be closed. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the ayes have it. The motion to close nominations has been carried. President Janethia Hudley Hayes is the nominee for the president. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. The ayes have it. Commissioner President Hudley Hayes is desired and elected as president. Nominations for the office of president is now in order. Are there any nominations?
For Vice
Vice
President.
President.
I'm sorry, Neverly, you meant to say vice president?
Vice President.
Oh, is that not, yes, vice president.
I nominate Sharon DeLukich for
I
vice president.
Are there any other nominations?
Do-
Is there a motion to close nominations for vice president?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. If there are no other further nominations, it is moved and seconded that the nominations be closed. All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it, and the motion to close nominations for the office of vice president is carried. Commissioner DeLugich is a nominee to the office of vice president. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Vice President DeLugich is declared and elected to the office of vice president. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
So that moves us on down to the report of the fire chief.
Yes, good morning, Commissioners and our invited guests. On July 2nd, this report is going to be from July 2nd through the 15th. On July 2nd, I attended a Korean American Federation of Los Angeles press event, reaching out to the Korean community, and it was a fantastic event. July 3rd, I did an aerial tour of the Palisades area with San Marino Fire Chief and the Director of the Joint Regional Task Force that we have, our JRIC. July 6th was a great honor for me, being a Dodger fan since I was a little kid, to get onto the mound. Well, actually, I got in front of the mound throughout the first pitch at the Dodger game. So,
Oh, wonderful. How exciting.
yeah. So we have Dodger fans. All right. And then on July 7th, I attended the Public Safety Fire and Loss Summit. well-attended, well over 200 law enforcement, fire, police in the room, preparing for and having a panel discussion on preparation for upcoming events like the World Cup, Super Bowl, Olympics, and et cetera, that we're going to be having here in the next few years. So that is it for me and the report.
Thank you. That brings us to item B, that's the oral report by the department on significant incidents and activities from July 1 through July 14th. And it is Chief Gutierrez. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Madam President, Vice President, Commissioners, City Attorney Nguyen, Neverly, command staff, and guests. My name is Steve Gutierrez, and I humbly serve as the Commander of Operations South Bureau. I'm going to briefly go over an incident that occurred July 9th, 2025 in the city of Wilmington, which is in Battalion 6, Council District 15. So last Wednesday evening, just before 8 o'clock, I was at home. I received a phone call, which is kind of rare after hours, and this was informing me of a significant incident in the city of Wilmington. And I mention that because I want to make a kind of a note on our notification process, because I think it's very important that the Commission knows and the public knows of how we get notified of significant incidents through the chain of command, command staff, through the fire chief, through the mayor's office, council district, all the way to Congress in this case. This was a noteworthy national incident that made the news, and it was that notification process works. It brings to bear notifying me as the part of the command staff, Chief Legal, our operations, our emergency operations commander, our deputy department commander. That evening was Chief Hing, and of course the Chief of Staff, Chief Kyrie Brown. So we're all notified because of this, because we want to get there. We want to provide additional oversight, command and control, and really help out in this potentially large-scale, long-duration potential incident. So that notification works, and I'm proud to say that it does. So while en route there, I left my home. While I was en route, I started listening to the radio. And the first on-scene battalion chief, which was Ryan O'Gorman, communicated, and what he communicated was that there was a tunnel boring operation that was being conducted by a private company in the city of Wilmington where approximately 28 mine workers were trapped. Very significant. Provided a very detailed secondary size-up and then requested additional resources. And again, this is noteworthy. Requested all LAFD urban search and rescue companies to be notified and start marshaling them forward, as well as 10 advanced life support ambulances. Because, again, start thinking about this. This is underground, deep underground. I'll get to the tunnel in a second. But life safety is really, minutes are going like this. So very, very noteworthy, really forecasting where this was going. So early reports that we had were that all communications was out with the mine workers down there. In other words, they couldn't communicate upward, outward. That being said, that also triggered our comms people here and Captain Mike Fisher to start moving towards South Bureau and ready to establish some type of communications link to down below for all of us, including the employees. Another significant thing that I think doesn't happen anywhere else in the country. It was later confirmed that 27 mine workers were trapped, and they were trapped about 5.5 or 5.5 miles down this tunnel. The tunnel itself, some of the details about it. This is a tunnel project that is overseen by the Department of Sanitation. It's a wastewater management project. Its construction begins in the city of Wilmington, and it's used to eventually carry filtered water all the way down to San Pedro. The tunnel itself will be approximately a little over 7 miles, 7.5 miles long. It is below grade from 150 feet to 400 feet down. If you can imagine 400 feet, that's about 1 1/2 football fields down. So again, start thinking about this. 27, 28 mine workers down, trapped by rubble and debris, about 400 feet down below, no communications, and yet our firefighters are coming and bring a number of assets to bear. The LFD actions included marshaling, what I just mentioned, the 5 urban search and rescue task forces, an additional 5 land-based task forces for assistance, 10 advanced life support ambulances, as well as they requested all available helicopters. And they were also, this is important, they requested them to be converted to air ambulances. So again, not only were they going to get air ops out there, but also to convert those over as quick as they can to marshal what would be victims to get them to hospitals if needed. This is extremely noteworthy, and this is the officers that were there having the forethought to marshal not only the like and type of resources and assets, but also to go a step further. Our battalion chief, Adam Kanabi, who oversees our disaster preparedness section, was again thinking, forecasting ahead, called Ventura County, LA County, and the region to look at other heavy equipment needs, started identifying what would be needed in terms of tunnel rescue. So once again, there's not a lot of fire departments that can do this kind of stuff. As the rescue started unfolding in the early stages, once again, Captain Danny Wu, who was instrumental from our Urban Search and Rescue 88, quickly outlined a plan, which included a site safety plan, working hand in hand with the private vendor that was operating the tunnel, an entry permit, which is required by law for us to make access, and all the other requirements that are needed in a highly, highly technical potential rescue. Again, we're very fortunate, and I think the fire chief said it well, lucky. But I think there's a piece that got missed there. Yes, we were very fortunate and lucky that the mine workers were able to self-extricate, climbing over about 15-foot high pile of debris and get out. But I think the part that got missed was we were also lucky because our men and women were prepared to go down below on a moment's notice, suited up, ready to go and make entry. And if you think about this, again, going down 5.5 miles down, about a football field and a half below grade, into effective rescue. They don't know these people, but they're going in because they have to. So I just wanted to highlight some of that stuff. These are very unusual incidents, highly technical, and this one's particularly because this is a one-way in, one-way out mine shaft, essentially. And they put these reconstruction rings that are waterproofing concrete barriers on it that tie it together as they go. And now it takes from this larger hole to about 18 to 20 feet. 5.5 miles down, a football field and a half down below that. And again, we were ready to go over the side at a moment's notice. And lastly, this is another uniqueness of the LAFD. We have a contract with just about every mining or tunneling entity, private, that operates in the city limits. And this is really important because what it allows us to do is not only to work hand in hand with the private vendors, but also to be familiar with their equipment. The contract with this company specifically provided the certification and what we call rebreathers, which allows us to breathe for up to 4 hours on air. So we're able to get underground and operate below depth for about 4 hours. And these contracts and this partnership is really, once again, unique, and it's established by, once again, our chief, Adam Kanabi. He's made this instrumental in his position there to essentially that we have these contracts in place. So whether it's the Metro Rail tunneling going on or what's happening down here in the wastewater project. So those are some of the things I felt that were, again, extremely lucky that all the mine workers were treated, released without injury, and as well as LAFD members. So this is, again, a uniqueness that this department and this department only would bring, I think, across this country. So that's all I have. If there's any questions I can answer.
Commissioners, do we have questions? Thank you, Chief Gutierrez.
I don't have questions. I just wanted to
sorry.
reiterate the fact that LAFD has the finest workers and can handle these kinds of emergencies. It's remarkable, the work that they did. And I just want to salute the people that did the work and thank them for the service that they provide for the safety of citizens in Los Angeles and those who were not citizens, because some of those people don't live in our area, but they work in our area. So we take care of everybody. Thank you so much for that, Chief, because that was even for some of the people who lived in that area, they didn't realize that this tunnel was going under there. I know some of the people there, so they didn't realize that they had this tunnel going under their houses. And so it's something. It's just great to know that we have someone to back us up when we have a problem. And I take pleasure in knowing that I live in L.A. and that we have the backup of the LAFD to help us in every way that we can, because we seem to function in every department, every kind of an emergency that there is. We're there to help, and I appreciate the services, and
You're
so do the people in the city.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Vice President DeLuca?
Well, I echo what Commissioner Woods Gray said, and just, I mean, you talk a lot about luck, but there was a tremendous amount of skill involved as well, and just to be able, in the heat of the moment, to be able to be thinking ahead, I think that's just incredible, and that is the result of so much training and so much experience, so I also really appreciate it, and feel very lucky. And even when you said going 5.5 miles underground, my heart started to pound, so that's crazy, but it's a miracle, and it's lucky, and due to the skill of the men and women of our department, that nobody was hurt, so thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That brings us to the oral report for medical emergencies for that same
Madam
time
President, would
period.
you like to hear one more incident
I'm
before we
sorry?
go to medical?
Oh, we have another incident.
If you
Okay.
wouldn't mind.
Thank you, Chief Moore.
If you wouldn't mind. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Madam President, Vice President DeLugich. Congratulations on the elections. Commissioners, Chief Villanueva, City Attorney Wynn, Ms. Hill, honored guests, both sworn civilian, members of the Los Angeles Fire Department. My name is Jamie Moore. I'm the Deputy Chief of Operations Valley Bureau. And once again, I'm here to highlight a very complex major incident that happened in Valley Bureau. On July 3rd, 2025, at 9:02 p.m., Los Angeles Fire Department resources responded to a major emergency structure fire. It was incident number 1584, which occurred at 12910 West Corcoran Avenue in the city of Pacoima, California. The first arriving LAFD resources found heavy fire involving 3 single-family homes while encountering multiple firework explosions and multiple exposures upon their arrival. The initial incident commander of Light Force 98, Captain Smith, declared a defensive mode because of the nature of the incident and went into an exposure profile. After careful consideration, it was deemed by the incident commander to be defensive on the initial fire building and offensive on multiple exposures on 3 sides of the main fire building. This resulted with reports of people trapped, so they are now facing life hazards as well. The incident resulted in a total of 6 patients, which included 1 30-year-old male, which was a fatality, 1 critical 33-year-old female who was transported with 30% of lower extremity burns and smoke inhalation, 4 patients who were also evaluated and refused care for smoke inhalation. The fire was confined to the immediate exposure while encountering additional hazards of wires down, a ruptured automotive fuel tank, broken natural gas service main, and other exposures because of the amount of fireworks that were being ignited. With the support of 140 firefighters and numerous internal fire department resources, including support from outside agencies, which included the Los Angeles Police Department, DOT, Department of Water and Power, Los Angeles Department of Building and Safety, the Red Cross, our mayor's crisis response team, members of Councilmember Rodriguez's CD7 staff. The fire affected a total of 4 parcels and 7 units, which displaced 12 adults and 6 children for a total of 18 being displaced. The fire damage resulted in 4 red tag structures, 1 was yellow tagged and 1 was green tagged. All the displaced families received safeguards, yet they denied housing. The fire was quickly knocked down in 53 minutes. Again, this was an extremely complex incident that tested command and control. Please keep in mind, our chief officers who arrived on scene, and there were 3 of them that were required to manage this incident, did not have their emergency incident technicians. There were no firefighter injuries, fortunately, and the cause still remains under investigation. The LAPD bomb squad responded. They rendered the property safe, and people were allowed to return by noon the next day on July 4th. I'm prepared to answer any questions you may have.
Commissioners? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Now that brings us to the medical emergencies for that same period, July 1 through July 14. Good morning, Chief Warfel.
Good morning, Madam President, Vice President, Commissioners, Fire Chief, Deputy City Attorney, Neverly, Command Staff, and guests. My name is Tim Warfel. I'm the Deputy Chief of the Emergency Medical Services Bureau, and I want to talk about some new pieces of equipment today and an incident. So the EMS Bureau has recently taken delivery and is currently deploying some very special pieces of equipment that had a significant impact during an incident that I'm going to share with you today. After I share this incident, we're actually going to demonstrate the piece of equipment for you. So on July 10th, 2025, in the West Bureau, 911 was accessed by the staff at an outpatient surgery center for an 18-year-old patient who was undergoing surgery to repair an extremity fracture. During the procedure, for reasons not clearly identified, the otherwise healthy patient went into cardiac arrest. The responding, or the staff there contacted 911 and resources were dispatched. En route to the incident, the paramedic that was on the assessment light force told his captain it would be a good idea to get an EMS captain en route for a Lucas device. So a Lucas device is a mechanical compression device that delivers chest compressions to patients who need CPR. So until this week, this piece of equipment was only carried by EMS captains and advanced provider units. Upon arrival, the patient was indeed in cardiac arrest. CPR was continued by our resources. The patient was given several different medications, placed on the Lucas device once the EMS captain arrived on scene, and was also defibrillated using our new Zoll monitors 5 times. Return of spontaneous circulation was achieved and then lost again. The patient was transported to a special receiving facility known in the field as ECMO, which is extracorporeal membrane oxygenation. This is a life support treatment given at some special hospitals that uses a machine to temporarily replace the function of the heart and lungs. In order to qualify for this transport to one of these hospitals, the patient has to be on a mechanical compression device. So you can't go to one of these 5 hospitals unless you're on this piece of equipment. Ultimately, the patient is going to survive and make a full recovery because of the efforts of our paramedics and these pieces of equipment. We recognize that this would be a great opportunity to demonstrate this life-saving device, and we're fortunate to have one of our 5 EMS educators, Anthony Keene and Battalion Chief Matt Conroy, who are going to demonstrate the Lucas device for us. While they're getting ready, I'm just going to share some additional information. So these new Lucas devices were purchased with funds from the AFG, which is Assistance for Firefighters Grant from FEMA. The cost of 107 units was $1.8 million. The EMS Bureau is currently deploying these units to every paramedic ambulance. So every paramedic ambulance is going to have one of these devices. So I'm gonna let you guys describe what you're doing.
So basically, what we'd be doing compressions at this point, we would start to bring in this, what's called the Lucas device. Again, this is an automated device, and the really cool thing about this is it gives the perfect rate and depth of compressions every single time.
Hey, can I stop you? Can you put it up there? I think more people would be able to see it. Yeah, but the table. Oh, yeah, there we go.
So this little movement actually demonstrates one of the great things about the Lucas device is that we're replacing manual compressions. And it is virtually impossible to do good manual compressions on a patient when we're moving them from wherever they might be to the ambulance, or when we're in the ambulance, it is impossible to be seatbelted in and be giving good manual compressions. So not only are we giving better care to the patient with this device, we're also making it safer for our EMTs and paramedics who don't have to be doing or attempting to do compressions in the back of a moving ambulance. So we'll demonstrate now how the device works.
So we slid basically this backboard underneath. You can do it a couple ways, log roll the patient or just slightly elevate the chest. Outside of that, there's some clasps on this that just sticks onto the board. After that, it's very, very simple. There's a little button that says on. Okay, it slightly moves this down. You put the suction cup down, you hit start. Now you have continuous compressions. And again, that's the proper rate, the proper depth the entire time. So it's really circulating blood more effectively than just an EMT or a paramedic with all the other things going on.
It paces out. Thank you. Thank you, sirs. So as Matt mentioned, some of the benefits is it actually, thank you. Some of the benefits is that it frees up one of the members, during a rescue so that they don't have to do compressions. It actually saves back fatigue and injuries for our paramedics. With the rollout of this new device, they've actually increased the people that we can apply it to. So you can now use it for people that are under 14 years of age. You can also use it on traumatic full arrest patients. The 5 hospitals that qualify for this, or that have the ECMO offered is Cedars, Long Beach Memorial, Northridge, Torrance Memorial, and UCLA. So the EMS Bureau, we continue to elevate EMS as prescribed in the strategic plan by looking for innovative equipment to improve a patient's survivability. And thank you, and this concludes my report. Is there any questions?
Commissioners?
I'm not clear about the 5 hospitals.
Okay, so
You can only go to those 5 hospitals?
So you can go to any hospital with the Lucas device, but the 5 receiving facilities that have this special equipment called ECMO, the life support treatment that temporarily replaces the function of your heart and lungs, the only people that are doing that currently are those 5 hospitals.
I see.
Yeah. So there's an algorithm that the paramedics follow to see if that's the appropriate facility.
And for the record, just you had mentioned this was purchased with FEMA funds, correct? So that's the correlation that we have to that money that we apply for, whether it's through FEMA or state, that oftentimes get held up for critical equipment like this.
Yes, it was the AFG, Assistance for Firefighters grant from FEMA.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there other questions?
Well, just a
Commissioner
comment.
Lukic?
Thank you. Just a comment. A couple of years ago when I rode out with Captain Felix, a paramedic captain, he left me with get us more Lucas machines. Because at that time there were only 5, a few. So I think it's so great that we have so many, and such a great use of FEMA dollars. So that's amazing. I mean,
it's rather timely because with the loss of the EITs, to make up for that, we started dispatching our EMS captains who currently carry this device to structure fires in order to fill in for the missing EITs. So we're relieved that we're deploying them this week, and there's going to be more of them out there on every ambulance.
And it's our grant department that wrote the grant?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and they're to be commended also.
Thank
So
you.
this is one of those things that, why we have these reports from you. This is an efficiency that the fire department has taken on, and this is a proactive step. It may not help us totally losing all of those, but this is one of the things that the public really needs to understand about how the Los Angeles Fire Department does look ahead, plan ahead, and try to make sure that we fill those gaps. So that's very important, and thank you very much for providing us with the report.
Thank you.
That brings us to consent agenda items. So we have A, which is Board of Fire Commission Report 25-038 regarding the agreement with South Coast Shipyard for as-needed fireboat maintenance and repair services.
Motion to approve the report and adopt the recommendations therein for item BFC 25-038.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. That brings us to,
Did we only do A?
Yeah, we just did A. So motion to approve item BFC 25-039. Approve the report and adopt the recommendations therein for approximately $7.4 million from LAFD
I second.
Foundation.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We'll receive it, and the recommendations is that we're going to approve that, okay, and adopt the recommendations. So that takes us down to item 6. We have 2 regular agenda items. We'll hear the first one, 25037, and that's the overview of the duties, responsibilities, and goals of the FireStat unit and in the LAFD planning section.
Good morning, Madam President. I'm Captain Sanchez, currently serving in the planning section. Thank you for the opportunity to provide the overview of the FireStat LA unit, the Los Angeles Fire Department's performance management and data analytics unit. FireStat LA exists to turn data into action. Our mission is to improve organizational performance and accountability by providing clear, accurate, and timely insights that support executive-level decision-making. To understand where FireStat LA fits within the department's structure, I'd like to begin with a brief overview of its organizational placement. FireStat LA operates within the planning section under the Chief of Staff. It is led by a planning section captain, myself, and supported by 3 civilian analysts who specialize in statistics, data science, and programming. With that context in mind, let me now walk you through the core functions of the FireStat LA unit, what we do on a day-to-day basis to support the department. Our core responsibilities include validating and analyzing data from CAD, NFIRS, and EPCR systems, tracking workload incident response times, EMS transports, and apparatus utilization, developing and maintaining dashboards and reports for bureau commanders and internal stakeholders, responding to California Public Records Act requests with clean, validated data, supporting high-impact projects including standards of coverage, grant applications, and deployment studies, informing policy decisions and strategic planning with objective, evidence-based analysis. One of the most critical aspects of our analysis is response time performance. Using CAD data, we break this metric into 5 key components to provide a clear and comprehensive picture of each phase of the response. The first is call processing time, which is from 911 call receipt to dispatch. Then there's turnout time, which is from dispatch to apparatus en route. Then there's travel time, which is en route time to on scene. There's court time, which is dispatch to on scene. And there's operational response time, which is from the initial 911 call to the first units arriving on scene. These components are benchmarked against both internal goals and national standards like NFPA 1710 and are reviewed in real-time dashboards as well as monthly and quarterly reports. In addition to response times, FireStat monitors a wide range of key metrics that are central to understanding field performance and service delivery. Here are some primary data points we track: response times across bureaus, battalions, and first-in districts, incident types and trends by location, EMS transport volume and patterns,
unit hour utilization and company workload, false alarm rates, and apparatus availability. These metrics are critical for both internal accountability and public transparency. These metrics aren't just numbers. They directly support informed decision-making across all levels of the department. Here's how our work translates into operational strategy. FireStat LA enables the department to guide resource deployment and evaluate staffing models, inform policy revisions and evaluate program effectiveness, provide validated, defensible data to city leadership and the public. It is also important to note how FireStat's work aligns with the broader goals of the department's strategic plan and the tangible impact our analysts have had on operation. FireStat directly supports strategic plan goals 1, 4, and 6. Some of the recent successes include redesigning the EMS tracking transport tools, supporting false alarm reduction and workload balancing, providing accurate data for the SAFER grant and billing services, improving data quality in public-facing reports and legislative briefings. Some of the operational insights we've uncovered include shifts in EMS demand in areas with growing homelessness, properties with repeat false alarm triggering inspection protocols, identification of delayed response times in specific regions and incident types. While the unit continues to meet high priority demands, we are also reaching a point where our capacity limits our potential. I'd like to take a moment to address the current staffing challenges we face and the opportunities that come with growth. As demand grows for real-time dashboards, integrated data systems, strategic plan tracking, and support for high-priority efforts like standards of coverage, EMS optimization, and response time equity, additional staffing is essential. Expanding the team would allow for dedicated analysts assigned to each bureau, increasing regional responsiveness, improved validation and integration of both operational and administrative databases, growth into predictive modeling, AI-driven insights, and enhanced geographic visualizations, proactive identification of service inefficiencies before they affect outcomes. Looking to the future, FireStat LA is prepared to expand its scope and capabilities to meet emerging needs and priorities. Here's what lies ahead. Integrated additional data sets, including HR and training records, expand predictive analytics and pre-positioning strategies, provide customized dashboards for field leaders, supports citywide initiatives around homelessness, community health, and public safety. While FireStat LA continues to deliver high-impact insights and demand for analytics, the demand for analytics has far outpaced our current staffing capacity. With only 3 civilian analysts, we are at a critical point. Additional full-time analyst positions would improve our ability to support each bureau, reduce turnaround time on critical reports, allow us to expand into AI-driven modeling and real-time operational alerts. Commissioners, FireStat LA is not just a reporting unit. We are a force multiplier in every bureau of this department. We provide the data and insights that shape decisions, inform policies, and protect lives. With your support, we can expand our capabilities and continue building a stronger, smarter, and more accountable fire department for the people of Los Angeles. This concludes my board report.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there questions? My only comment is, actually, I want to thank you for this report because I'm making an I statement now. I wasn't really clear of everything that FireStat does, but clearly, looking at this report, you actually do everything, and you actually have data that supports everything that we ask for in our budget as we're doing the budgeting process. You have everything that is necessary. And I want to thank you because I didn't realize all of this. How does that work when we are preparing the budget and looking at the priorities that the interim fire chief or the fire chief thinks about when he's preparing the budget? Are you part of that discussion from the very beginning? Because you seem to have the data that we need to have to understand. First of all, I get it that you're saying that you actually are working beyond your capacity. So the first thing is we need to make sure that there's some kind of a line item that allows us to set this as a priority to make sure that we have enough people to continue to do this. But the second question that I have, maybe it's for you and not for Captain Sanchez, but do you start with us at the beginning of the budget process to do a deep analysis line by line?
No, we're not at the beginning of the budget, but as the different stakeholders, bureau commanders, the different departments come to us with the stats that they need to support the line items that they're putting into the budget. So when they come up with something, as far as like, say, homelessness and what we're doing, we put together the data that determines how many calls how much of our call load responds to homelessness, so that it can assist with the budget ask or the line item within the budget.
So we do have the capabilities and the capacities to be able to say what happens with real-time data and real-time evidence-based information to say, if you cut our budget here, it's going to destabilize many things over here, and we have a way of providing the data to support that.
Yes, ma'am. They're with us along the way, and I think this is a perfect moment to recognize our data analysts that we have in the room, that they do not get, come on, you guys, stand up.
Where are they?
They're
Yeah,
right
please
there.
stand up.
Son and Jason, yes.
They don't get the recognition. They're the ones that are sitting in the back.
Only two of them?
Yep.
Wow.
Right. And so they never get recognized. They're always sitting back there just, working away. So they're the unsung heroes. So they do help us, as you can tell in the report, but also, as you can tell, as we work along our budget process, they're with us along the way whenever we need something, and many times it's last minute. It's like, hey, we need this right now, and they're all over it. So thank you, guys.
Thank you so much for what you're doing, and there are just two of you in an organization that is as large as the Los Angeles Fire Department is. Thank you so much for being here this morning, and we do want to recognize you and the critical support that you provide.
They're not showing the body language, but they love their job. They love their job. Yeah, they're smiling now, but yeah, they do a great job for us.
Commissioner DeLucas?
Well, I also thank your whole department, and there's a great report, and I wrote it down like using budget requests. And I would just only recommend that you guys proactively suggest budget recommendations. I'm thinking about APRUs and FRVs, and because you do know, I don't think there's any need for you to wait to be asked by department chiefs to say, give us information about how much we need this or that, because you already kind of know. So I would just encourage that to happen on the front end.
Yes, ma'am.
But this is, great work and great information and a great report.
Great. Are there any other comments? Thank you very much. This was
Thank you.
absolutely thorough, and it helps those of us who are civilians and don't necessarily always understand these things, but it really is very clear. It's a very clear report. So
Thank you, Madam President.
Madam President, maybe
Yes.
just one item, one thing, is that we always say that we're a data-driven department. We've said that for years. We didn't have FireStat some years back. We have it. It seems to be working really well. And I'm glad to see the progress that it's making.
Thank you.
I would like to move this report, 25037, that we approve the report and adopt the recommendations.
I second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you again for this. That brings us down to 25040. That's a report providing the overview of LAFD's fiscal year 2025-2026 budget.
Madam President, before he begins, for the first time, I can actually read this budget. I don't know who designed, developed, or printed it this time, but please have them to keep doing it, because usually it's so tiny you can't even see it.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
Emilio, he's always excellent with everything he's ever done in this department since I've been here. But this is really, I'm happy to be able to read it.
Thank you, Commissioner.
It's bigger. Thank you. Emilio, good morning.
Good morning. Morning, Madam President, Commissioners, Deputy City Attorney Nguyen, Chief Villanueva, Ms. Hill. I'm pleased, my name is Emilio Rodriguez. I'm the Fire Administrator, Administrative Services Bureau. I'm pleased to present the Fire Department's final fiscal year 25-26 adopted budget. The department will utilize collectively $1 billion from various sources that support an $898 million operating budget, with operating budget defined as salaries and expenses, and an additional $121 million in non-departmental allocations for MECLA bond-funded fleet replacement, new fleet purchases, facilities maintenance, and the unappropriated balance for reimbursable and revenue-generating expenses. The vast majority of the adopted budget reflects the minimum resources needed to stabilize services to meet current demand amid high call volumes. Just to recap on some of the highlights, the adopted budget includes, first and foremost, recruit training, funding for 2 new academy classes for the placement of up to 118 firefighters to meet attrition. That's basically 2 graduations and additional funding for carryover class into next fiscal year. There's a paramedic training funding to boost annual paramedic training from 45 to 90 members. And this is to increase paramedic resources to address the more than 600 daily EMS transports throughout the city. There's a big boost to supply and maintenance operations with the restoration of 17 shops positions and parts funding to maintain operational readiness in the field without staffing and cash flow constraints and interruptions that has been a significant issue in the past. So collectively, between staff and expense funding, that's about $5 million. To add to maintenance, there's also front funding of $2 million for fireboat maintenance, which funds the maintenance of 5 fireboats serving the harbor region. And these expenses are reimbursable by the Port of Los Angeles, although the front funding will expedite repair work. On the issue of payroll processing, the adopted budget also includes one-time funding of $1.5 million for a new payroll integration software to replace the current NSS network staffing system for better integration of sworn scheduling capabilities into the Workday timekeeping and payroll system. Complementing that, there are also 15 positions that were approved on an interim basis in the current year that will be, they were approved last year, were continued into the current year to meet the unique onboarding, transactional, and payroll requirements for sworn staffing in Workday. So that's a combination of HR support and payroll. Additional reimbursement support includes LAWA cycle teams, funding to establish 2 paramedic assessment cycle teams at LAWA for more efficient incident responses and relief to neighboring fire stations. Unfortunately, the department also sustained significant reductions to sworn resources, including the deletion of 42 emergency incident technicians. This has been said more than once, but just to reiterate, the impacts of which will adversely impact the department's ability to manage emergency operations, emergency responses, coordinate resources, ensure effective communication, and provide support to incident commanders. There are also reductions to equity and inclusion staffing, 5 positions, which results in the redistribution of equity and inclusion duties across other divisions. Those impacts were addressed in the previous board report that was heard, I believe, earlier this month. Collectively, our requests place emphasis not only on LAFD's strategic plan, but the mayor's priorities to keep Angelenos safe, confront homelessness and the housing crisis, and to overall promote safety, service improvement, and service delivery to our customers and constituents. That concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
So at the end of the day, did we have either a net loss or a net gain in any in this budget at all?
Well, if you compare strictly adopted budget dollars, our operating budget did increase from 898 million. No, I'm sorry, let me look back at the attachment. Collective, between 24-25 and 25-26, there was a 9.5% increase between adopted budgets for the operating budget. That number's a little misleading because if you consider the fact that MOU increases for last year were not implemented until after the adopted budget, if you add that to the equation, the increase would really be closer to 3%.
Okay. Thank you.
Did that include MICLA?
No, MICLA is below the line. It's off budget, so I'm not factoring in MICLA to those dollars. Right. Although MICLA, we did collectively receive about 80 million this year between new apparatus replacement, and new Augusta helicopter. So that would have been an increase from last year's 50+ million.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
I have a
Commissioner Woods Gray?
What is the largest reduction in our budget?
Well, the largest reduction would have been collectively the sworn reductions. The EITs were 8.2 million, and that's direct costs only, that's salaries. And the non-continuation of the equity and inclusion chief officer positions were collectively 1.7 million. So adding those figures, it's about 12 million.
Oh, okay. Are grants included in the total budget that you present to us, or is that another?
No, grants are considered off budget, and they don't factor into our operating budget.
Oh, okay. I think he covered most of the things that I was interested in, the IT positions, the youth programs, building maintenance, the funds for turnouts and the machines to clean them is a high priority for me because that has created a lot of, I think, contributed to a lot of issues within the department. I'm concerned about Crew 3. I know about Crew 4 and arson, clerks in the arson department. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I think it's good for the commission to always understand the net gain or the net loss within the budget so that we can kind of keep up with that. My other question is, how much of our budget is fungible? In other words, how much of the budget do we have the ability to move from one line to another line? Usually in a budget, there's a certain amount of money that the fire chief has the discretion to take something off of one line, move it to another line because that line becomes more important, or that line is something that we really need to move some money to. Does that happen within the fire department's budget?
Right. Happens fairly frequently, actually, because of our limited funding and, pressing needs that kind of vary throughout the year. So there is a process of the financial status report, which involves a report back to the council and mayor on the need to redirect funding within the budget to other priorities. And that's strictly because of council limits on the amount of funding we can transfer internally and externally from that process. So normally anything above $50,000 requires a council approval. So we'll collectively make significant transfers from as early as the first FSR through the year-end FSR for adjustments to our various salary and expense needs. Case in point, we typically run short on SORN overtime early in the fiscal year, in the first part of the fiscal year, due to the wildfire deployments that, now occur as early as July. So oftentimes we have to make those adjustments in the first FSR, and sometimes even before that through council motion, just to get the money in the buckets it needs to be.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any other questions? No. Thank you very much.
Thank you, members.
Where's my agenda? Does that take us to? So that takes us to a motion for adjournment. Oh, I'm sorry. We have to approve this one, excuse me. That's 25040. Can we get a?
Motion to approve BFC 25-40.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Now I will entertain a motion for.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
All right.